I was recently introduced to Lauren Kiana Palmer, the CEO of the Keke Palmer Company. She did a TED Talk. It's on YouTube, 13 minutes. And in that 13 minutes, she reminded me of my why and how the inner programming we get as children will continue to run in adulthood, no matter how much our new environment may try to override it. And it reminded me of a question that I was asked about a year ago in an interview around, do you ever think that things will change in terms of our beliefs in surviving? And my answer then is the same answer that I have now, which is absolutely. Look at the conversations that we are having. Look at the TED Talk Lauren, aka Keke Palmer, just did. Look at how we are taking that same determination and that perseverance that came from our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents, and we are continuing to apply those learnings and to truly practice and put into action what it is that we are seeing and what it is that we have experienced. And so what I learned from Lauren is that Keke Palmer is a character. And that was a character that was created out of necessity, and it was a character that was created out of survival. And when you are a child in survival, you will do anything that you need to do to just survive, even if that means that you have to sacrifice certain experiences, even if that means that you have to sacrifice your emotions, your innocence. The key, right, the goal is to continue to push forward and to move out of survival. And when Keke was talking, she specifically spoke about how acting is what bought her and her family that freedom. But the freedom that she is talking about is freedom from and not freedom to. Freedom from is when you are escaping, when you are breaking free, while freedom to is all about simply being free, right? That's that transition from surviving to thriving, from surviving to truly living. And for you to do that, there are questions that you have to ask yourself around what are your beliefs? Where did they come from? And are they keeping you limited or limitless? And so when we talk about beliefs, it's really important to talk about how your core beliefs happened during ages 0 to 7 years old, when you are taking everything in, everything around you. You're literally like a sponge. So what you experience, what you see in your environment, what you hear on the TV, what you see on the TV, in media, what your parents are saying or not saying, all of that plays a part in what you believe you should experience and what your reality will be. And part of those core beliefs are also generational beliefs. And as I talk about limiting beliefs, when I talk about limiting beliefs, it's not about it being good or bad. It's about, is that belief keeping you from going where you want to go? Is it stopping you from becoming and also unbecoming, from learning and also unlearning? What is the work that that belief is doing for you? And if it's not contributing to your limitless, then it needs to be released. And so when I think about limiting generational beliefs, I think about what has been passed down generation over generation. And for Keke Palmer, her relationship with rest is something that had been passed down to survive. Not even just thinking about our parents' generations, but to think back 2, 3, 4 generations. When you go back even further to like the horrors of slavery, you think about enslaved people working from sunup to sundown, from not being able to rest. It's like no matter what they did, they didn't produce enough, they didn't give enough, they weren't enough. And so where is this belief coming from about your relationship with rest? And really, we really have to take account for around, you have to be perfect, you have to be invisible, you have to not cry, and you cannot be angry. Once again, having to suppress emotions, and emotions are meant to be felt and not carried, but suddenly we are carrying them. And what is the reason why? And it's because those beliefs were created so that you could survive another day. And so keeping that in mind, you have to say, the conditions that created those beliefs are not the conditions that I live today. Thankfully, so much gratitude for that. I am so grateful to my parents and my grandparents, right? I literally know of my grandmother and my great grandmother's like picking beans in the field on Guatemala Island in Charleston, South Carolina. Like I know. And so how do you honor them is by also honoring yourself and saying the conditions of yesterday are not the conditions of today. And so how do I move forward so that the people to my left and to my right, so that me, myself, can move forward without all the weight? Because when you are a child of survival and you're looking to survive, there are knowings, there are truths, there is a weight, there's a responsibility that you become aware of at a very young age. And it's one of those things that you can drown in those circumstances or you can decide to swim. And so with Lauren creating the character, right, that we know is Keke Palmer, and how she shrunk parts of herself to do so. But now she's in a place where she recognizes that those survival skills that she had, that programming that she learned at a young age, needs to be reprogrammed. And so moving forward and just taking that relationship with rest and taking time to speak to that younger version of herself and to truly change what does it look like to rest, and how rest is a strategy, and how you can implement that today and also teach that to your child. And I absolutely love that Keke Palmer is doing the inner work, because she will not only be a better version of herself, but she will be a better mother. She will be a better CEO of her company. I think about how the CEOs of companies, the people in leadership, they really are the core emotional temps of the company. And so you can say one thing, you can have a culture statement that says we value our people. Well, valuing your people also means valuing their rest. I am excited, right? And I am looking forward to how companies also move from surviving to thriving, because I know so many women-led CEO companies right now that are taking spring breaks or they're taking winter breaks where they're shutting their companies down for a week or for 2 weeks, and they are seeing a return on their investment because their own relationship with rest has changed. And so then it has also changed in their company. And so it's a ripple effect. When you're doing this inner work, especially as a founder, especially as a leader, then it doesn't just impact one area of your life, because what you've done is that you've changed on some of the deepest levels of change, which is beliefs and identity. And so as that changes, you will change in totality, and you just don't come up on a personal level. You come up in all areas of your life. And so I say all of that to say the conversations that we are now having are allowing us to have an awareness of what it is that we have been programmed to believe about ourselves, which then impacts the reality that we live. And so, in saying all of that, step one is truly becoming aware. And that can be done by just simply auditing your beliefs and truly asking yourselves those deeper questions of what is it that I believe? Where did those beliefs come from? And are they keeping me limited or limitless? Those are the things that I am thinking about today. I absolutely loved the TED Talk, and I'm excited for us to continue to not only have the conversations, but most importantly, take the action that we need to take to truly transform not only our lives, right, but the world through this ripple effect of literally just starting with yourself.